Idaho student murder suspect agrees to extradition to face charges. A criminology graduate student accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students has agreed to be extradited from Pennsylvania, where he was arrested last week, to face charges in Idaho. Brian Koberger, a 28-year-old doctoral student at Washington State University, a short drive from the murder scene across the state border, will be transported across the country to Idaho within 10 days. Students at the University of Idaho and nearby residents lived in fear for weeks as authorities seemed stumped by the mysterious and brutal stabbings on November 13. More details about the case are expected to be released after Mr. Koberger arrives in Idaho and an affidavit is unsealed. However, attorneys, law enforcement officers and others involved in the case will not be able to discuss the affidavit or other court documents after an Idaho magistrate on Tuesday evening issued a gag order, barring officials from talking publicly about many aspects of the case outside of court. Judges sometimes issue the orders when they fear that pre-trial publicity could prevent a defendant from getting a fair trial. Wearing a red jumpsuit, and with his hands shackled in front of him, Mr. Koberger showed little emotion during Tuesday's brief hearing in a Pennsylvania courtroom in which he acknowledged he was facing 4 counts of first-degree murder and a burglary charge. Mr. Koberger, who was arrested by state police at his parents' home in eastern Pennsylvania last Friday, will be held at a jail in Monroe County, Pennsylvania, until his extradition. His parents and sisters sat in the front row of the courtroom gallery, behind the defense table. Mr. Koberger's mother and his sister, Melissa, broke down as he walked into the courtroom, sobbing quietly and holding one another. Mr. Koberger glanced at his family briefly as he was led out of the courtroom. Latah County prosecutors in Idaho have said they believe Mr. Koberger broke into the victim's home near the university campus, intending to commit murder. The slain students were Kaylee Goncalves, 21, Madison Mogan, 21, Xana Kernodle, 20, and Ethan Chapin, 20. They were close friends and members of the university's Greek system. Ms. Mogan, Ms. Goncalves and Ms. Kernodle lived in the 3-story rental home with 2 other roommates. Ms. Kernodle was dating Mr. Chapin, who had been visiting the house that night. The chief public defender in Monroe County said his client was eager to be exonerated. Mr. Koberger should be presumed innocent and not tried in the court of public opinion, public defender Jason Labar said. After Tuesday's hearing, Mr. Labar described Mr. Koberger as an ordinary guy, and said that, after his extradition, he would be represented by the chief public defender in Kootenai County, Idaho. The killings have left the rural town of Moscow, Idaho, deeply shaken, and police have released few details about the investigation. For weeks, the Moscow Police Department faced heavy criticism for telling frightened residents that there was no great risk to the community, even though a suspect had not been named. University officials hired extra security to escort students across campus, but nearly half of the 11,500 student body temporarily left campus for the perceived safety of online classes.